tonight. Our intent here tonight is to bring you the election results as they are brought in to us from the people that we have in the various wards and districts and committee headquarters throughout town. One thing that I would like to mention to the viewers at home, these are strictly unofficial results, and we'll be telling you that as the night goes on. Obviously, we are not the Board of Elections in Goshen. We feel very confident that the numbers that are provided to us are provided through good sources, so we're pretty comfortable with them. But I do want you to realize that by no means are these official election results that we are giving you. I believe also, Peter, that because of the write-in ballots, that the official results don't come for 2 to 3 days later. Is that correct?
That's right. Yes, indeed. So we really won't know officially. It's like the presidential elections. You really don't know until months later when the Electoral College is counted, and that's going to be the same case here.
Yep. I understand that any write-in ballots have to carry today's postmark and can be received no later than 3 days after today, if they happen to get hung up in the mail or something like that, but they do have to have today's postmark. So I guess the official results won't be provided probably till the end of the week, but at least we'll get some good indicators.
Absolutely.
Some interesting things going on.
Sure.
We do have some unofficial results that we'd like to bring you right now, and these have come in, as I said, from some of our poll watchers that are out in the various wards. Initially, Ward 1, the 2nd District, and I believe Ward 1, yes, it's down in the West End area, and these were provided to us, as I said, by one of our runners. The results so far, again, from Ward number 1, the 2nd District, Gray, 138, Walker, 34, Roberts, 141, Goldman, 25, and then for the council seats, those obviously were the mayor and councilman at large numbers that we just read to you there. For the council seats in Ward 1, McCarthy, 131, Clune, 131, Babby, 36, and McCreary, 30. And as I said, those are unofficial. We're going to keep them right here. We'll be bringing them back to you again, and we will be adding the tallies in a summary fashion because we do have a computer that's keeping track in our control room tonight, thanks to Mike Warden. Some other preliminary results, and viewers, please keep in mind that these are unofficial as they are brought into us. These are for the council seats in the 2nd Ward, and these results are from the 2nd District in the 2nd Ward. And these results are as follows. And these are for the council seat, or council seats. There's 2 seats available. Washbon, 388. Russell, 399. Markovitz, 357. Once again, Washbon, 388. Russell, 399. Markovitz, 357. And those are the results that we have so far. One thing I would like to mention, we're getting a whole bunch of them in right now, but before we get to them, it was reported to us by one of our poll watchers at approximately 8 o'clock this evening, or maybe a little bit after, that in the 3rd Ward, 2nd District, there is a delay. We don't expect the results will be coming in very quickly from the 2nd District to the 3rd Ward because of this delay, and I'll just give you the information as we have it. The voting knob, if you will, if you're familiar with the voting booths, the voting knob for Jack Stewart is missing. And again, that was reported to us at 8 o'clock. It's our understanding from the sources that we have that the machine was closed down, and all votes after the machine was closed down will be done on paper ballots. So what does that mean to us as far as our count tonight, Peter?
Well, it's going to take a longer time, certainly, and I'm not even sure that it'll be all decided tonight. If it's a close vote, one of the other parties may challenge it, and it could go for a long time yet. So that could be big problems for all of us to sit here and watch this. We may be spending a late night here.
Did you bring any sandwiches?
I got a great movie going right over here.
Peter, do you have your red bandana?
Yes, I do.
You got the red bandana?
I don't know that the television station can see this, but there it is.
If you ever see Peter Osborne in the street and he doesn't have his red bandana with him, you win an XS8 T-shirt and call me up.
And for those who don't believe, by the way, that you're not watched, or who do believe that you're not watched, the night that we did your telethon, that night I was out on the streets.
That was a lot of fun.
And somebody said to me, "Where's your bandana?" And I said, it's right here, because I said, we want the sticker for it. You know,
It was
the sticker.
stickers.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. So,
Well, see, you're getting so good at keeping it that we've upped the prize.
right,
It's
that's
now a
right.
T-shirt
Yes,
instead of
indeed.
just a little sticker. Anyway, just to reiterate, in the 3rd Ward, 2nd District, there was a delay reported to us at approximately 8 p.m. this evening. And as I say, that's only the time that the thing was reported to us. We are not sure of the time that the delay actually occurred. But the voting knob, the actual knob that you would click if you were to vote for Jack Stewart, is missing, and that all ballots will be paper ballots, and the machine has been closed down. It also says here that the proper officials have been notified. Okay. Peter, I am so glad that you're down here tonight, because I know those of you that know Peter, he is the executive director of the Minisink Valley Historical Society. He's also a very strong supporter of Access 8. He's much better looking than I am on television, and he has a heck of a lot more to say. So he's kind of gathered some things together.
Absolutely. I was really excited about this today, and I think that I have a little spiel here that I thought I'd say at the very outset of all this tonight, and that is that no matter who wins or loses tonight, I think, Steve, that the Constitution has worked. That may sound corny, it may sound stupid, but we the people have prevailed. And when we go tomorrow morning, we go out in the morning, we will not have revolutions on the streets. That's a good thing. I mean, in Korea these days, they just passed a new constitution, and they're throwing tear gas bombs at their candidates for president. We will not do that. Tomorrow morning, there may be some of us who are unhappy or happy, but we will essentially say that the democracy has worked. That's a great thing, no matter whether you win or lose tonight, that it's worked that way. I think that no matter what side of the issues you were on, with the water, with the CDA, whatever, the fact that the issues were brought to the public eye, that you had a chance to say it was good, bad, and different, and that they were debated, is what the framers of the Constitution had in mind 200 years ago. And I think it's important that your television, our television station here, was able to, and the radio and the newspaper, were very much a part of all that, to bring that to the people. As I was thinking about what I'd say to initially open this up, I thought we really owe, I think, a great deal of debt to all the people who have run and their families, win or lose, because they have spent an incredible amount of time out there on the streets, hustling registration forms, hustling votes, bringing the issues to the people particularly people who have just moved to the area who would not be familiar with all the issues, were brought the issues by whoever they were, whatever party.
And we had quite a few newcomers this year. I'm not that familiar with previous races here in Port Jervis, but there were a lot of new faces that were out seeing you people, knocking on doors, and as Peter pointed out, win, lose, or draw, all the candidates, all of them, regardless of party affiliation, whether they had one or they didn't, I think are to be commended, because they took the time, they were concerned, they certainly put forth the effort, and I think it's made for a much better election, and it's provided many, many choices to you voters out there.
Absolutely, and I also think that the party, the machinery, the mechanics of the parties, the Democratic, Republican, and Independent parties, should be thanked as well. The people who are out there that are behind the scenes that are not being voted upon, but the people who actually make the parties run should be thanked as well. And public office so many times is a thankless job. I mean, I sit and watch every Monday night, and you see some of the council people getting yelled and screamed at, and you say, who would ever want a job like that? And so I think that they're all good-hearted people. They're all dedicated to making their town or city better. And that should be noted. I think that they should be commended for coming out to all the committee meetings that they have to go to,
Yes.
the parades. You see them all the time everywhere. Marvelous thing. It's a great thing about our democracy. And I guess in my closing statement for my opening statement...
Wait a minute, this is it? We got an hour to do tonight.
...is that we should note your efforts at the television station, all the people who are behind us here, behind these cameras, and Will Hoppy in the room back there, and the radio people, and of course the newspaper who did such a marvelous job with all their writers. The radio, which did a fabulous job.
And the debates, they were excellent. Very well
I mean,
conducted.
you hear the people, you hear the voices firsthand. If the guy missed knocking at your door, then you can hear him on the radio or watch him on television. Or in the case of the newspaper, you get a long descriptive background on each person. And so I think for all the negative that's been said about the campaigns, this has been a good thing about it, and that it's worked so well.
It certainly has been, and I think, obviously we here at the television station who have been bringing our viewers to council meetings, since, I think, November of 1985. So it's almost 2 years now that we've been bringing council meetings to you twice a month on a real regular basis. We're glad we've been able to do that. We've had a lot of people say to us, gee, that's a terrific thing, especially for the senior citizens who maybe aren't as mobile and can't get out to the meetings. But while we have the viewers' attention here, Peter, I'd just like to tell them that we're awful glad that we're in a position to bring you the council meetings, but we here at Access 8 Television really believe that television really does not take the place of your ability to participate in government. And that means coming down here to the council chambers. If you have opinions about what are being said or what's not being said, watching it on television and talking about it in coffee shops or diners or anything like that the next day really is not as constructive as if you actually came down, told the politicians down here at City Hall how you feel about it, if certain issues come up, you know, to discuss it a little bit. So we're glad you're watching, but please don't forget that some of the best things are to participate, to actually be here.
Well, you know, and Steve, my favorite story that I tell everybody about Access 8 is I'll never forget the night that I was sitting here and they were talking about Bluestone sidewalks and trees down in Barcelona Street.
June Quick, I think.
And June Quick came
Yep.
here, and she was talking, and I think she was in her bed, she said, and she got on her regular clothes, came down, and she said, because you're talking about my house, I'm here tonight. And that's the beauty of this.
That's terrific.
I think the people that she did that night came down here out of her bed onto the public stage is a marvelous thing. And I think the fact that people, I'm sure now people are much more aware of the politics or the way government is done. Every time I get on your television station, I say the same thing, that this has changed the way we do business. I think that this election and future council people and future government leaders, not only in Port Jervis, but in Deer Park and wherever else you folks go into at some point in the future, will all have to deal with the lights, the camera, and being
the action.
And the present. Yeah, that's right. And they'll all have to wear Oxford shirts and blues.
Well, we hope it doesn't have to go that far. We hope that it doesn't change the way they think. You know,
That's right. That's right.
It seems to have had some kind of impact on the way they dress,
That's
but
right.
Unfortunately, I still hope they're thinking the way they're thinking. Before we go on, as I said, we're very unofficial tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tallies are being reported to us. They are unofficial for a whole lot of reasons, not the least of which is that we're not the Board of Elections, and certainly there are write-in ballots that would have to be counted at some point in the future. And for those of you that just tuned in, I did mention that there has been a delay in the 3rd Ward in the 2nd District because there is a knob missing from one of the voting machines for one of the candidates, and that machine has been closed down. All balloting after that, and we don't know what time that occurred, but all balloting after that is done by paper ballot. So that's going to delay the situation a little bit. We just got a note from one of our runners. It certainly is. It says unofficial from Republican headquarters. So this information is from Republican headquarters. They feel that they have one seat in the 4th Ward. They're very close in the 2nd Ward, and they have, from Republican headquarters anyway, no more results at this time on the mayor. So to reiterate, from Republican headquarters, they feel that they have secured one seat in the 4th Ward. We do not have a name here, or we would share that with you, and that they feel that they're very close in the 2nd Ward. So on we go. And also, we have contacted the folks up in the town of Deer Park, and according to Ann Zeller and Shirley Zeller in Deer Park, there is still no results available yet, but I think sometime within the next 15 minutes we should be hearing from Deer Park, and we will be bringing you those. I guess I better read these off real quick, too, while we're on a roll. Again, these are unofficial. 2nd Ward, 1st District, and these won't be total. I'm going to give you the results by district just as they've been reported here to me. 2nd Ward, 1st District, shows Gray with 209 votes, Walker, 174 votes, Roberts, 229 votes, Goldman, 137. And from a previous note that we had...
I think we have a total here altogether, Steve, tell you the truth on that 2nd
Oh,
Ward
okay,
there.
good,
Sorry.
good. We'll carry right across. Thanks, Peter. From the 2nd District in the 2nd Ward, we show Gray, 239, Walker, 123, Roberts, 240, and Goldman, 112. So the total of those two districts in the 2nd Ward are as follows. It shows the incumbent, Arthur Gray, 448 votes. His challenger, Councilman Earl Walker, with a total of 297 votes. Roberts, who's running as councilman at large on the Democratic ticket, with 469. and David Goldman, who is Mr. Walker's running mate for councilman at large, with 249. Let me
The
see.
totals there on the council people too, Steve.
Yeah, those I think we have reported, but we'll just reiterate them again. This is 2nd Ward, 1st District.
Well, I'm sorry, on the totals there.
Yeah, these.
Oh,
Those
okay.
are the... Okay. 2nd Ward. They're running in the 2nd Ward,
That's right.
Yeah, okay. 2nd Ward. These are just the council seats, and these are totals in the 2nd Ward. 388 Washbon, 399 Russell, and 357 for Markovitz. Again, for council seats in the 2nd Ward, these are total figures that have been reported to us, unofficial. Washbon 388, Russell 399, Markovitz 357. And they're just coming all over. Unofficial totals across the city in the mayoral race, and it's right now almost 10 minutes to 10. Again, these are unofficial. These are from the totals that we've been able to get here. Shows the incumbent Gray with 1,222 votes, and his challenger, the councilman, Mr. Walker, with 829. Again, that's Gray 122, Walker 829. Please stay tuned. We're going to be bringing you results as they are brought in to us. And we hope you enjoy the show, and we hope that this is as informative as we think it's going to be. Okay. What were some of the issues, Peter, that maybe could be summarized in this year's election?
You know, it's always hard to say that without sounding partisan in any way, but as I read it, and I will say it's as my opinion at least, I think that there was quite a few of them. I think the major issue that everyone seemed to feel was the most important was the issue of clean water. Mm-hmm. I think, and it's interesting, as I read the article in the paper the other night, everyone seems to agree on the problem. I even think that everyone agrees basically on how to deal with the problem. But I think what everyone disagrees on is how to deal with it and in what stages. I think
Sequencing.
The Democrats essentially say that it has to be a filtration plant right up front. The Republicans have essentially said, well, let's clean the pipes first and work our way to that. But I think that they both essentially agree on how to do it. I think that it's just timing and a matter of approach. And I'm sure there's a compromise to be found there somewhere down the line. That certainly was a major issue, and I'm fond of. I have a white shirt on tonight. I'm surprised that I have that on. Ever since I moved to Port Jervis, I lost my first white Oxford shirt here.
In a laundry
one. No, it turned rust one day, and so I've never worn a white shirt ever since in Port Jervis. I've always worn blue or other colors where the rust doesn't stain it as bad. But that was certainly one issue, and I know that everybody on the street is concerned about it. Because I'm just typical. If my shirts were ruined, I remember seeing someone on the street and I said, well, geez, my white shirt had all these blotches all over. Something we have to deal with as a city.
You know, I think I saw that shirt, and I thought you were trying to tie-dye that shirt. I didn't know that. Anyway.
Another problem, at least from the Republican point of view, was the charges that they leveled against the Community Development Agency and the Port Jervis Development Corporation. And that was, I think, essentially where the real nasty part of the campaign happened, was the countercharges and charges. But certainly that was a major issue.
And that was covered very well by all the media.
I think so, and I think everybody had their fair say in it. I think that there's no easy answer with that. I think that obviously HUD found that there were problems at CDA. I think also that CDA and the Development Corporation, or CDA specifically, since then has not had the problems. And so both sides were kind of right in it. I think everybody agreed there had been problems and that they certainly had been worked out, or at least in part been worked out. The role of the mayor, I think, is an issue that was discussed in some part, and that is, and we have to look at this down the line, whether we're going to go and change our charter to make this a full-time position, or keep it as a part-time position, or hire a city manager. I think that's an issue that was hit on in the campaign that we need to go with at some point in the future and decide exactly how we want to go. I'm not making any judgments on the mayor. He's obviously been in there for 5 terms or 4 terms, but I think we as a legal entity in the city itself has to make some kind of a judgment as to if they don't want it to be a full-time job, then they should leave it as a part-time job. But they need to resolve that, and I think that Earl's side of the story was simply that we had to address that at some point down the line.
Well, we're certainly a growing community, you know, looking at some of the realty figures, you know, that are provided to us by different real estate
and I
agents.
think we have to either have a city manager, someone who can full-time, in the event that Mayor Gray or someone like him cannot serve full-time, we need someone in the future that is going to be able to handle all these requests that come in. I've been in his office on days when he just is constantly barraged with phone calls. It's obvious to me that we need somebody there, whether if it not be the mayor himself and the city manager or someone there to be able to handle all this, because we are on the leading edge of Orange County. We are the next area to be developed. I mean, they've already hit Goshen. They're moving west of there. It's just a matter of time before.
So you feel that basically, regardless of whoever is elected tonight, that this issue will still be put on the table, dealt with, and discussed?
It's not going to be resolved until they either change the charter and hire a city manager or make the job part-time and just assume they're going to lose some of those phone calls and whatnot. Another problem was the problem of the police and the fact that there was quite a bit of issue raised over the pay and the fact that these officers are leaving rapidly to go to other cities and town. I think another issue was the rehabbing of the downtown, and the facades and the poor lighting. I think that needs to be addressed. I think that there was a very good ad hoc committee that set out to address this, and the master plan is coming down the line. I hope that that'll address this as well. Another issue, I think, and it's interesting, I went through all the elections since 1955 forward, and this very issue was one that has been discussed in almost every election since 1955, and that was the fact that there needed to be new industry in a town, and that some kind of an industrial park be set up. Now, that was the early arguments, very early in the 50s and the 60s. And in this campaign, the argument was made regarding the kinds of industry, the definition of what a safe industry is, the definition of what kind of pay we should get out of those industries that we're going to give our final bit of land to or sell to. And I think that was a very, very important issue that was brought up.
I can't recall which of the council people it was, Peter, but I think it was Mike McCarthy that I recall mentioning a comment about that, and he basically said that yes, we're in a growing situation here in the community. Population is increasing, especially in the Deer Park areas outlying where there is more available land for building and construction, but that would certainly help the tax base a little bit, but the thing that's really going to help the taxpayers is to broaden that tax base out by bringing in industry, and as you pointed out, the proper kind of industry that we think serves environmentally, you know, our feelings about our community here, but that's really, it's almost a necessity because of the financial help and that it would provide to the budgets in town.
Another issue was the issue of housing and how we deal with the housing stock that we have, whether we hire another building official, whether we hire more building official people. That was, I think, a very serious an issue that was addressed at great length, and I think there was a lot of discussion on that. The traffic on East Main Street out towards Tri-State's another issue. And I think it was, as you could tell from the debates, a very, very heated campaign. I'm saying that very kindly, I think.
Are my eyebrows singed? Is my mustache
and
singed?
Obviously there was a very raised level of emotions and feelings about it. You know, I mean, and I think that in all local campaigns it gets like that, and people get hot about things, but we go on, and in 2 years from now we kind of forget that election or whatever, and it was good. I think that all of these issues came out because our city is at a very crucial moment right now. In the last 75 years, we have taken this tailspin out when the railroad left Port Jervis, and I think now we're starting to move into a direction that if we don't plan ourselves, will be planned for us.
Yes.
I think that we cannot help all this development coming into Port Jervis now. The New York City folks, the commuters, all are going to come here whether they like it or not. The question is whether we are wise enough to say that this is the kind of development that we want, how we want to deal with our water, how we want to deal with our police, and how we want to deal with future townhouses in town or condominiums or whatever. But we have to address that and to the longer view to see how we're going to go with that.
And that, you know, that growth, just off the subject of our races for election tonight, but that's also a very key issue with all the school districts.
Absolutely.
You know, because with more people comes the need for more schools,
Absolutely.
need for more teachers, et cetera. So there's almost a bounce-off effect, you know, to that growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any more results to read there?
I don't think, do we have anything new, folks? Nope, still working on summarizing it, all right? Let me just reiterate then.
Do you have a total for a second ward?
Yes. Yeah, let me just read them over the air once again. These are unofficial totals. We've reported them again. There's no update to them, but for those of you that might have just tuned in to us, these are unofficial totals in the second ward. And these are second ward totals only. That shows The incumbent, Art Gray, 448 votes. His challenger, Councilman Earl Walker, with 297 votes. Dick Roberts, who is the councilman at large running with Mayor Gray, 469 votes. And Mr. Goldman, who is the councilman at large running with Earl Walker, 249 votes. For the council seats in the second ward, and again, these are unofficial totals as we have them reported to us, Washbon, 388, Russell, 399, and Markovitz, 357. And those are out of the second ward. These are some that we had earlier from the first ward, second district in the first ward. These were reported to us by one of our people who was out at that ward, and I believe he was a poll watcher for one of the parties. I'm not sure which, or I'm not sure it's important either, but Ward 1, second district, Gray, 138, Walker, 34, Roberts, 141, Goldman, 25. And then for the council seats, there are 4 candidates running for the 2 seats in the first ward. The totals that we have, again unofficial, show McCarthy with 131 votes, Red Clune with 131 votes, Rosemary Babby with 36, and Mr. McCreary with 30. Again, those are unofficial, unless we have an update from someone. We do have people here on the telephones that are calling out to the various headquarters. We do have people that will be calling in from the headquarters in the various polling places. And again, there's been a slight problem in the third ward. There is a delay. One of the knobs for one of the candidates was missing. What's that, sir?
Third ward is coming in directly. We're on the phone to them now.
Okay, I've just heard from our director, Will Hoppy, that we're getting some third ward figures as we speak. And also, we have nothing yet from the town of Deer Park, but we will be bringing you those. Pardon? We've just heard from one of our associates here, one of our correspondents, Janice McCann, that there looks like there might be a Republican sweep in the town of Greenville.
There is. She counted the votes.
Definitely, she said she counted the votes with them. So on her say-so, and I don't know if we can we trust her, really, Janice McCann?
I have no comment.
But according to Janice, if she would like to share those votes with us, and wow, a ballot and everything. Hang on here, viewers. I'm going to let you do this,
Sure,
Peter.
sure. Okay. I'll just get myself orientated here. Okay. Let's see here.
Looks like a Monopoly game, doesn't it? Look at all those numbers on there. This must be the
They couldn't
Democrat.
make-
You can
yeah,
tell we haven't
okay.
done this before.
Okay, let me.
Ah, you've made it easy for us.
Okay, but there's no totals, Janice. There's not a total. Sure. Okay, and this is going to be tricky because of the way these are marked up.
See how cleverly I passed that off to you?
Okay, let me go down on the Democratic line first. Okay, on the supervisor, there's Margaret Roper, 139 and 161. Deborah Swanberry, 134 and 164. Linda Schleich, 125 and 146. Carl Decker, 141, 188. Ken Sweeney, 117, and I think that's 443. Does you see that?
I think it's 143.
I'm sorry, these are all unofficial results.
These are certainly unofficial.
This is real unofficial.
We have them on napkins, people.
Joanne Sowden, 133 and 153, and then Ted Florkowitz, 129 and 214. Then on the Republican ticket, we have Bob Koenig, 163 and 242. Mary D. Natalizio, I'm sorry if I've said that wrong, 155 and 291. Linda Schleich, 129 and 176. George Hosan, 158 and 204. Joseph Koenig, 157 and 224. Joanne Sowden, 148 and 222, and Harold Edwards, 172 and 194. And there's also a conservative running out there, Greenville. Thomas Napier got 73 votes and 37. And then on the independent antlers, I never heard of such a party, independent
Antlers?
Margaret Roper got 4 and 11. Eugene Stewart got 3 and 22, and Tom Fellock got 13 and 17.
So it looks like the Republicans down here on row B, if you
Yes.
compared 1-to-1, it does look like a Republican
Well,
sweep.
and Janice said that all the time. She said that right at the very. I mean, we didn't even have to add
Clean
these up.
sweep.
Yes.
Every office, everything.
Every
was-
office, yes. So Bob
Well-
Koenig has won over there. That's right. Joanne Suden. So
What we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to turn this whole ballot right back to Janice McCann, who has a computer or a calculator or something in her hand. She's going to summarize it for us so that when we bring them back to you, we can bring them back to you in order of winner.
First district only.
Third ward, first.
First district.
Okay. From our director, we now have some preliminary results from the 3rd Ward, 1st District only. And as you recall, it was the 3rd Ward, 2nd District that had the problem with the voting machine. So these are the results unofficially, again, as we have them, 3rd Ward, 1st District. In the mayoral race, we see Gray with 227 and Walker with 214. That's a very close one up there in the 3rd Ward. That shows the incumbent, Art Gray, ahead, and these are only results from the 1st District,
And unofficial.
and unofficial by about 13 votes. My wife phoned in and said we both look dry-mouthed, so.
Thank you.
Also, for the councilman at large in the 3rd Ward, 1st District, we have Dick Roberts with 243 votes, Dave Goldman, 192 votes. Not quite as close as the mayoral race. For the council seats, and there are 4 candidates that are running up in the 2nd Ward, or 3rd Ward, and these are the 1st District results, again unofficial. Eberhart, 178. Stewart,